welcome everybody back to the JV Sports Room. As usual, your boy JDino, the other half of the team behind the scenes, my man Vince.
Yeah.
I'm holding down the Kobe corner this time because, as promised, we're bringing you guys NFC East content this week. Got my own section. So in the starting center spot, big body boy himself, representing them Eagles.
Bird gang, baby.
Big J.
Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. We out here. NFC East. Let's break it down.
Told y'all it was coming. Couldn't get my man in here, so we got him on the Zoom down there where the Dallas Cowboys going to be all season. Oh, sorry, Jarvis. Jarvis back on the show.
Yo.
That was good.
And obviously, over in the host spot, so I'm going to turn it over to the host spot. My man J Money holding it down for this show.
Yeah, they done gave your boy the keys to the whip. I'm ready to do this. Let's make it happen. Yeah, man. So we out here for the NFC East. That's what it is. So, we're going to just start off like this, man. We always start at the top, right? So last year, let's break down the standings from the NFC East, right? Cowboys 12-5, Eagles 9-8, Commanders 7-10, and fortunately, your boys.
Man, we was tanking.
Yeah, 2 first-round picks in the top 10.
It turned out well.
Anyway. So Jarvis, man, talk to me, man. Last year, rough ending, of course, by your boy squad. 23-17 loss in the wild card. We dealt with that, so we're going to leave it alone. This offseason, you had a, interesting offseason, some changes. Some people left. Cooper, gone. Went out to Cleveland. Randy Gregory, he's gone. So talk to me about your offseason. I know last year you disappointed about your coach, McCarthy. He's back again. Let's touch that a little bit. What do you see you got?
Appreciate that, man. Well, I just want to thank y'all for having me back on the show, man. First of all, y'all see my background. I just want to remind y'all 5-time Super Bowl champion Cowboys.
Loud and clear.
Hot seat, man. McCarthy's on the hot seat coming into the year. First year, he went 6-10. Granted, Dak Prescott got hurt. Last year, 12-5. We swept the NFC East. Swept the NFC East. I'll repeat.
Tell them again.
Before, taking a crap to an overambitious 49ers team in the first round of playoffs. I mean, them boys came out. They showed they were hungry, and, their playoff run showed that. So we definitely were the favorites in that we got upset. But like you said, Jason, we did have some moves. We lost Amari Cooper. Had some other moves where we lost people, but we did address that in the draft. We drafted Tyler Smith in the first round, offensive tackle. He's looking like he's going to be a starting guard. They moved him to guard. He might start as a rookie this year. So that was huge in the first round. We got a cat, Sam Williams, a defensive end, which addressed the Gregory loss in the second round. And then the sleeper pick was Jalen Tolbert we got in the third round. He was a steal at pick 88. This guy, man, he had 7 100-yard games last year. 1,474 yards on the season and 8 touchdowns. He was a steal at 88. He had 143 yards against Tennessee, showing he can play with the big boys in the SEC, even though he went to Southern Alabama University.
Yeah.
He was a steal, man, and I think that he's going to address that Amari Cooper lead. We just need CeeDee Lamb to show that he's the number 1 receiver.
And I agree with you on that Jalen Tolbert pick, man. 6'3", 190 pounds. He could be a major yards after the catch weapon for you guys. So we'll see how he steps in. You still got Gallup coming in, which a lot of people sleep on. It's a lot of talent there. You brought in James Washington as well. So, it's definitely interesting. You got the pieces there. You got an overpriced running back in Zeke. He's better earn that money this year. I like your boy Pollard, though, man. I think that's another little potential key weapon for your offense that could really take the next step this year.
Couple more stats real quick, guys. Let's not just talk about our offense like it was just trash. Let's just put things in perspective here. Number 1 scoring offense in the NFL last year. Dak Prescott had 37 TDs and only threw 10 interceptions on the season. Zeke was the 7th leading rusher, and he was injured. So, Zeke's not washed yet. I've seen him in training camp. He looks good. He's out there moving real good. He was hurt all season last year, and he still finished 7th in rushing. So I like Pollard also. I think Pollard's a great running back, and I think we'll have a dual-headed combo. The outlook's good for the year. And we caused the most turnovers in the league last year. Let's not forget that. So
yeah,
I predict us to be 12-5. I predict us to go 13-4, 12-5, somewhere in that area, win the NFC East again, and this time have a deeper push in the playoffs.
My only question mark with the Cowboys, multiple question marks, but my only question mark, the glaring question mark for me is, you mentioned the offensive production last year, but that was with Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper leaving is a big loss. I mean, that was a security blanket for Dak Prescott. Also with that late season injury with Michael Gallup, how late into the season is he going to be ready and involved? And putting a lot of pressure on a young, small school wide receiver. We mentioned Jalen Tolbert, who I like as well. I attest to that. I do like him as well. That's a lot of pressure coming in, stepping into pretty much going to get a big role right away. Because you also have Dalton Schultz, who still has his little injury question marks, and he was another security blanket of Dak Prescott. So I think there's going to be some pieces that are going to be
not only injury, but also Dalton Schultz. He's still in contract negotiations as well.
Yep.
So he's not even locked in just yet.
Yeah, so a lot of pieces that are not locked in right, maybe in the beginning of the season or into training camp, and it's going to take some time for that chemistry to go. You say 12 wins. 12 wins last year. There was a big improvement in the division as a whole, but losing Amari Cooper is big. Yes, Cowboys, we go back and forth for years, but I do like CeeDee Lamb as a true number one. Now let's see him with unleashed, being able to move multiple positions, play on the outside, play in the slot a little bit. Very explosive wide receiver. Again,
12 wins is a lot. I said it last show. I'm taking the under on that one, baby. And that's just not me being a Giant fan. Yeah. Hey,
you guys took advantage of a very
vulnerable division.
Very, very vulnerable division, but at the same time, you took the rate that your defense was playing at last year is unsustainable to me. The amount of interceptions that Trevon Diggs was getting, and yes, the Michael Parsons addition in year 2 of him is going to be great. But losing some pieces, the division's getting better. I don't know if that defense is going to be. Defense is winning you guys games, keeping you in games. We'll see with the offense. 12 is a good number, though.
Speaking of Diggs, too, although he has so many interceptions, the dude lets up a lot of yards. And that's because he plays outside when he plays corner, versus like a Rams who plays inside on you and just shuts you down. But because you play outside, you take a lot of chances. And by taking those chances, you got high risk where you get in the picks.
And that's what killed them in the playoffs.
So I like to see Diggs kind of like tune up his game a little bit to be more balanced, because those numbers look good with the interceptions, but try to play that shutdown person for your team, be that true number one cornerback that where you got quarterbacks scared to throw in your side. Now, Micah, I'm not questioning that kid for nothing. That dude's a beast.
But guys, let's remember, Diggs was a rookie. So, it's a sophomore campaign here. Yeah. Teams have had more time to watch film on him, yes. Try to figure out tendencies, yes. But, that production rate as a rookie is just phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. But he set the bar very, very high. He's got to meet that bar at least again this year.
Yeah.
And he's got to not give up those kind of plays in the playoffs so that they don't get knocked out in the first round again. That's if you guys make it to the playoffs.
And let's not fail to mention, we know knowing the Dallas Cowboys and what they built, this current genre of the Dallas Cowboys was built off this offensive line. So let's not forget Tyron Smith is another year older. You lost Connor Williams, you lose Lyle Collins. The offensive line, we saw with the Dak injury, it's going to be big. Zeke is a great running back, but he's another year older as well. How much of the offensive line is going to help Zeke? The money issues, long term. I just think the Cowboys. I think your year was last year. You guys fumbled the bag last year. The division is getting better, and we're definitely going to break that down. I think you guys fumbled the bag. Just like all great empires, they all must fall. So.
What's your prediction?
10 wins.
9-10 wins, bro. I'm being honest with you. 9-10 wins.
NFC East champs?
No.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot tougher this year.
I can't wait to see what the next teams are.
changing of the guard, man. Changing of the guard. It's going to be tough for you guys. I think the Amari Cooper loss is going to really show its head. It's going to really put more pressure on Dak Prescott. Yes, Dak Prescott has come into the league and lit it up, and he's putting up big numbers. But in the crunch time, he wants to slide. So just like that, the Cowboys will slide into irrelevancy.
Man's delirious.
Well, it's a lot of talk here from the Eagles side. Your boys see each other week 16 and 6. So I guess what the Eagles trying to say, they gonna fly by the Cowboys as the Eagles fly to first is what I'm trying to hear from you. They say changing the guard. So let's talk about your Eagles, man. Let's talk about it. It's been a lot of off-season moves.
Hey,
like you, I can tell you guys some. I mean, we heard the whole JV Sports. Hey, Eagles, love y'all support. We want to personally apologize for this man wanting every wide receiver that were in the market throughout this offseason.
Hey,
but he got his boy. He got his boy. So talk to us, man. Talk to us, man.
I mean, you started at the top, coming out with the black helmets this year. So shouts out for that decision with the black helmets this year. But I mentioned changing of the guard, but honestly, I mean, let's be real. With all disrespect, has the Cowboys been relevant anyway? Like altogether, like
with all disrespect.
Yeah, with all disrespect. Have the Cowboys ever been like, yeah, they win in the division, but then they get booted the first round of playoffs? We are in this decade, we've won a Super Bowl. So actually, we should be the top of the talk. But anyway, that's beside the point. We're talking about the 2022, 2023 Philadelphia Eagles, man. You'll be delirious if you tell me that there's any other team that upgraded their roster more than the Philadelphia Eagles have upgraded their roster this year. I mean, you're sleeping under a rock if you're going to disagree to that. I mean, you're talking about you hit it on nail on the head. I've been clamoring for a wide receiver all offseason. And I mean, what does Howie do? He brings in a 24-year-old stud wide receiver, and A.J. Brown comes over from Tennessee Titans. I mean, does it get better than that? I mean, I think automatically off rip, I mean, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith make one of the best young wide receiver duos in the league. I mean, I don't think anybody can disagree with that. Let's see, year 2 of starter Jalen Hurts. Let's see what year 2 starter Jalen. Remember, year 1 he was a rookie behind Carson Wentz. Year 2 was what we saw last year was a great improvement, but still needs some work to do. So now he gets another weapon that he hasn't had in A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith, year 2, first round wide receiver we addressed last year. And I mean, and the upgrades get better. Second round of the draft this year, Cam Jurgens, a big offensive line addition on the offensive end. And we switched to the defense. This is where I think we made the biggest adjustments, the biggest upgrades this whole offseason. I mean, starting with the draft, let's start with the young guys. Jordan Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia, big body boy. Probably the dictionary, the big body boy is Jordan Davis. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's, 6'5", over 330, 340 pounds. He's going to clog up the middle of the hole, super athletic, ran a 4.9, something in the 40. I mean, the guys that size don't run that fast. And I think he's going to be a road grader. He's going to be able to get to the quarterback, clog up lanes, stop the stop the Cowboys in their running game and the Giants in their running game in the middle, being able to get after quarterbacks. And another trend that we've seen in the NFL on the offensive end with quarterbacks and wide receivers that went to the same school, maybe the Eagles have found something with defensive linemen, middle of the line, D linemen, and linebackers. How in the world did Nakobe Dean fall to the Philadelphia Eagles in the 3rd round of the NFL draft? I mean, how does Nakobe Dean, one of the greatest, middle linebackers for these Georgia Bulldogs, falls to us in the 3rd round? I'm still boggles my mind how that happened. But they have the chemistry there.
That's the greatest steal of the draft, in my opinion. It was y'all got the greatest steal of the draft, in my opinion.
Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, the 2 rookies coming in, bringing some firepower, bringing some speed, some athleticism, some strength. And I mean, to match that up with some free agents, big free agents additions. I mean, we know we have Darius Slay on the outside, the cornerback. Avonte Maddox is an up-and-comer, under the radar slot wide cornerback, excuse me. And thank you to the G-men for, having to make some roster cuts and financial issues. James Bradbury, another number 1 corner in this league, formerly of the New York Giants, comes over and signs a 1 year, $10 million deal with the Eagles. I mean, the upgrades, it kind of scares me because I'm getting Dream Team vibes, from years ago with Vince Young and all that. But you cannot tell me that this team is not upgraded with the names I've mentioned. Also, another upgrade from the Niners. Jaquiski Tartt comes over as a safety to lock down the safety position. The battle this training camp is going to be in the safety position and then that fourth wide receiver spot. And with the addition of Hassan Reddick coming over from Carolina Panthers on the outside edge rusher, big addition. Temple boy, another Philadelphia native coming into that defense. Defense upgraded across the board.
A lot of people don't realize. I mean, I've always been a fan of Darius Slay from Detroit days. And when y'all picked him up, he really showed last year. He had the lowest passer rating allowed in single coverage at 19.7%. A lot of people talk about that. He really put up a top 5 quarterback season. So if he can maintain that with those additions, it does make your defense interesting. I will give you that.
Yeah. The combination of Darius Slay and James Bradbury, I mean, you're talking about 2 cornerbacks on either side of the field who can be number 1 cornerbacks across the league, and we got them both on one defense. You mentioned Darius Slay. He got snubbed from, I believe it was Pro Football Focus, didn't have him in the top 10 cornerbacks for last year, which is mind-boggling to me. But to that point, another addition that we mentioned with the Cowboys is we have the number 1 rated offensive line in this division and in this league. Offensive line is there. Like I mentioned all last year, it's really going to come down to Jalen Hurts. The upgrade across the board to the team, to the wide receiver position should unfold, say, upgrade to Jalen Hurts' production, and he should be able to take this Philadelphia Eagles team to 12 wins minimum. I'm on a 12-win, 12-5. 13. I mean, the schedule is there as well. That's another thing that's unwritten is the schedule. I don't like to get too involved with the schedule talk because, we don't really know who's going to be good or not. But the schedule looks good. The division looks good. The team looks good. So,
I think you said it. It hurts you guys trust for sure. 3,100 yards is not going to get it done. He's definitely got to improve from that. And another thing is you call AJ a stud receiver, but what has he really done? He's barely scraped 1,000 yards in any of his first 3 seasons. I mean,
but he did have 1,000 yards, correct?
Just barely.
2 years of 1,000 yards. Not to mention, there's 2 teams in the league, Philadelphia Eagles and the Tennessee Titans, who are the most run-heavy offenses in the league. And to go 1,000 yards, getting the targets. I mean, if you compare A.J. Brown's targets to Amari Cooper or his targets, it's going to be night and day. Yes, I do hear what you're saying, but my argument to that is, he's going from one run-heavy team to another run-heavy team. At the end of the day, we had nobody on our roster even sniffing close to what A.J. Brown can do for you and what he's already done in the league.
But the thing is, 1,000 yards, and last year it should have been way more than that because Derrick Henry didn't even play. So why didn't he prove it last year? Why? Because he was hurt. Right? Another injury-prone wide receiver to the Eagles. Hey, man, good luck with that. I mean, I hope he improves, Jalen Hurts 3,100 yards because that's not going to get it done as a starting quarterback in this league.
So, Cowboy, talk to him.
I agree. AJ Brown, 6'1", 225. I mean, he's not the biggest guy, right? I mean, you got your other boy over there. He's another small receiver. I mean, they're not just sizing up on cornerbacks. I mean, they're not just running past them either. You guys are 29th last year in passing. 29th last year in passing. That is the bottom of the barrel. That is trash. And I don't think A.J. Brown improves that to put you guys in the top 15. So I still think you're in the bottom half of passing in the NFL. I think that your defense was good. Like you said, you're a traditionally based running team. You're 7th in rushing. Can you do that again? I don't know. But, I mean, you're a front runner for the NFC East under my Cowboys. So, you might be a wild card if you win, 10 games. You might be a wild card. I agree with you there. But
is that your prediction, Jarvis? Eagles, 10 games?
Yeah, I can see 10-7.
We had 9 wins last year with the upgrades we made. I mean, we wasn't even supposed to be at 9 wins last year. Let's be honest. We weren't supposed to make the playoffs, and we did. 9 wins last year, upgrades across the board. especially on defense. I mean, I think 10 is laughable, but I mean,
but we also mentioned that the division was kind of vulnerable last year. The second half of the season, the Giants tanked, and the Commanders, they weren't, they were
had some injuries.
Yeah, they had injuries, and they were led by Taylor Heineke. So,
the one thing I would agree with both the Giant and Cowboy fan, yes, there's great additions, but I think it looks better on paper, and I'm interested to see how it transitions to the field. I honestly still think Dallas Goedert is going to be the biggest weapon on your offense.
Absolutely. You mentioned the size of wide receivers. Dallas Goedert is.
Yeah, to me, that's your biggest weapon in your offense. I mean, even with I don't think Jalen Hurts can, like some quarterbacks in the league, can support 2 1,000-yard receivers. I don't think he can. And in my opinion, I think a lot's going to be done on his legs. And I think the one thing which I need to see for the Eagles to do, I need somebody in that backfield to step up and take over.
That's what
Miles Sanders to me is a bust. I don't think he's the guy. I don't believe him. I like Kenny Gainwell, but to me, he's got great hands. He's not more of a, in-between tackle running back. Yeah, I did pick up an interesting undrafted free agent. I got my eye on Kennedy Brooks.
Yes,
so that's something from out of Oklahoma, 3 1,000-yard seasons. Who's next?
I don't know how he went undrafted, but I understand what you're saying, and I agree to a certain point. Like similar to the 49ers in a sense, where we're not. Yes, we were the number 1 wrestling team in the league from I believe it was like week 6 on, and it was a running back by committee. It was a 3-headed rotation with Miles Sanders.
Hurts put a lot of yards on the ground.
Yeah, with Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, and I think you're going to see the same. Like I mentioned, the offensive line is there. The best offensive line in the NFL is in Philadelphia. I do agree with the Miles Sanders. It's time to step up or shut up. It's time to step up, or he's going to be out the door next year.
Yeah.
But I think with the rotation and what Jalen Hurts is able to do, and Jarvis can speak on it, having a mobile Dak Prescott is, and even Daniel Jones being mobile, he kind of with the RPO offense, this new wave of offense that we're seeing in the league with the RPOs and having mobile quarterbacks, he's going to open things up for a little bit more. Miles has been pegged with injuries for the last couple of years, but yes, let's see us another step up with Miles, or somebody step up. Well, it could be Kennedy Brooks. I mean, he's a name to look out for in training camp battles. But I hear you guys on the A.J. Brown. I'm just going to go out and say he's the best wide receiver in this division. CeeDee Lamb really hasn't shown me anything. Splashes we've seen, but nothing really that you can sink your teeth into. Give me the Pro Bowler and A.J. Brown.
If it all clicks, I will say this: if you're in Dynasty or Fantasy, Jalen Hurts could be the QB1 of this year. Yeah, I mean, we'll say that.
I mean, he's a Heisman. He's a Heisman finalist coming out of Oklahoma. The accuracy is off every now and then, but I mean, what is that not to like, man? He's a leader. He's a leader and a winner.
See, I told you that Hurts was going to take over for Wentz. Right when you drafted him. Speaking of Wentz, man, let's go ahead. He done had some changes. He was at the Colts, and now he's at the next team division we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. The Washington, Commanders now?
Well, at least they got a team name.
They got a team name. I mean, the choice, whatever, it's political, I guess. But 7-10 last year, like you said, they were led by Heineke earlier. Still don't think that's the answer for that football team, right? They had an interesting draft, which I kind of give it to them. They made some great picks. I think the future at quarterback, in my personal opinion, is Sam Howell, who they actually took in the 5th round at pick 144.
Yeah, I like Sam Howell a lot. Actually, I think he's definitely their future for sure. Carson Wentz is just a Band-Aid. He's just there for 1 year. That's why personally I don't expect too much out of these Washington Commanders this season. Obviously we've spoke on the Cowboys and the Eagles probably being fighting for the top of the division, and I'm not going to get into my Giants just yet, but I do think that the Giants have a better record than the Commanders this season. I think they're at the bottom at this point in time. I don't quite trust Carson Wentz, and he's, like I said, he's just a Band-Aid.
I agree across the board. I mean, being Carson Wentz was my quarterback. I believed in him for years, and it's just let us down. And I agree, he's a Band-Aid. I do like Sam Howell, but the biggest addition for me for these Washington Commanders is it's going to come on the other side of the ball. Is getting that boy Chase Young back in the ball, getting the Predator back on the field, and man, that defensive line.
That defense is great. I mean, defense is great when they're healthy.
Yeah,
It's underrated.
that defense is going to be scary when Chase Young is back healthy in the helm, alongside Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, the Alabama boys in the middle. I can say this about the Washington Commanders is I do appreciate good tenured coaching, and Ron Rivera gives you that good tenured, been in the league for a while. He's a hard-nosed coach. He's defensive-minded coach. He's going to be able to scrap together this team. This team, if Carson Wentz can just not do too much, Terry McLaurin got the bag this offseason.
Yep.
In the first round,
big resigning.
in the first round of the NFL draft, you take Jahan Dotson, wide receiver out of Penn State.
Love that kid.
There's some weapons here. Antonio Gibson's a name that we all like behind, in the backfield. This team can be sneaky good.
I like the young boy Brian Robinson they got in the draft as well. They've already said that he's going to be getting goal line work ahead of Antonio Gibson at this point in time. So it looks like they're going to a nice running back committee. They do have a couple weapons on the outside. I just literally think that the only problem they have is their Band-Aid for right now.
It kind of reminds me. I mentioned Ron Rivera. It kind of reminds me, with Antonio Gibson, and now you mentioned Brian Robinson. It kind of gives me that D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart vibes from years ago in Carolina. So, I'm gonna don't sleep on Washington. That Washington is a good team. That defense can take you a long way.
Yeah, they can mess up some squad Sundays. I would agree.
Absolutely.
Man, y'all tripping. Washington's trash. Man, Chase Young definitely needs to get back on the field. Terry McLaurin's an animal. But, I mean, that's it, man. Dude, they're over under 7 wins. 7 wins, man. Like, I don't see them getting more than 7 wins. In the NFC East, they're going to lose twice to the Cowboys. They're going to lose twice to the Giants. I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like, but that's 4 losses right there. I don't even see them being competitive in the NFC East. JDino saying that the Giants may have a better record than them.
I like that prediction. I mean, I like the under 7 too, personally. I don't believe in these Commanders at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
Wow. I think the defense could take them a long way. Like I mentioned, it's really going to come down to Carson Wentz not doing too much. I mean, if he's able to just hand the ball off and not turn the ball over, he can hand the ball off, but he's still struggling with turning the ball over and staying on the field.
Last year, Indy had a great defense as well. Last year, he handed the ball off to the best running back in football, and they still only managed 10 wins, and he fumbled that bag at the very end of the season.
That's a fact.
I don't trust in Carson Wentz at all.
Jaguars.
Had the playoffs locked up and blew it.
Blue. Insane. I'm just going to stay away from that bet because they just might end at 7 wins. But I do feel like you can't never sleep on division games. You know what I'm saying? They could mess up any one of y'all squad Sunday, Thursday, or Monday night, whenever the heck y'all play. It could happen. Division games is something you don't sleep on because one thing that's a fact when it comes to this league or any league, you sometimes play down to the level of your competition. So if you do that, you can get yourself caught.
I'm going to tell you one thing. Their representative didn't even show up today, all right? So they don't have much faith in them.
Who owns Commanders gear? I bet everyone still has a Redskins gear.
It's probably a fact. I want to sit here, though. Obviously, JDino, you had to hear a lot of talk about the NFC East. You're sitting up in the Kobe corner. You heard the Cowboys talk all this noise.
Is it the Kobe corner?
Yeah, we transitioned over here. we got a Giants/Kobe section today.
So you got that blues all set up there. You had to hear the Eagles, man. The Eagles went on for a minute about them Eagles, about not even respecting your team. You were at the bottom last year, 4-13. I don't think the boys or the Eagles have no respect for your team. Y'all had a tremendous draft, man. What do you see your boys at this year? Talk to them.
Obviously we travel well. Blue goes everywhere. But yeah, at the end of the day, 4-13, but we revamped the entire top. We started at the top and it's actually, a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, just like the man behind the scenes. That's what we needed to revamp was the GM, which we did. bring in Joe Schoen from the Buffalo Bills, right? Assistant GM, Brandon Brown, which was the director of personnel for those Eagles. So we bring in Brian Dabble as our coach. All huge upgrades. Obviously, he was the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. We've seen what the Buffalo Bills can do with Josh Allen and a mobile quarterback. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is on the level of Josh Allen at all. What I'm saying is these upgrades behind the scenes is what gives me faith as a Giants fan that we're making moves in the proper direction. Obviously, we go into the draft and we bang it out. Obviously, the first round, Kayvon Thibodeau, with the number 5 pick. Then the number 7 pick, Evan Neal, huge road grade. You mentioned the road grade. Mm-hmm. That's what we needed for Saquon Barkley for years now. And what do we get him? We get him. I mean, he's in love with him. Saquon personally is already in love with Evan Neal. He's apparently following right behind him everywhere they go in camp. And I know Big J mentioned us losing James Bradbury, but I'm actually a really big fan of Cordell Flatt that we got in the 3rd round of the draft as well. So looking for him to take over that position. And at the end of the day, we just weren't healthy last year. Last year, 4-13, we got 4 of our wins, I believe, within the first 10 games of the season. We tanked the second half of the season. Now, I mentioned a lot of injuries, right? Daniel Jones and Barkley, they only combined for 7 games together. And in those 7 games, I think they went 3-4. Daniel Jones went 4-6 in his games that he started. So at the end of the day, it's I'm looking at us having right around a 500 record again this year. Do I think we compete for the division? No, I don't. I trash talk and I say that we're going to see those Cowboys down there. But in reality, to double our wins and make us an 8-9 team, I'd be happy as a Giants fan. Anything more than that is a successful season for me. So, I mean, at this point in time, last season is in the past, and I'm looking forward to a better season than the Commanders, at least this season. And I definitely think we can compete with these Cowboys and Eagles and any other team in the league on any given Sunday now that we have all our weapons healthy again, and we got the right personnel and behind the scenes now.
Daniel Jones in a contract year, right? So I think he has to produce. I think that's huge. You know how players play in contract years. So I think that's an upside. You guys have done a great job rebuilding your team. Great job. Evan Neal, like you said, Thibodeau, those are great picks. I mean, how many first-round draft picks did you have?
Those were 2, but we hit home runs on them.
Yeah, a bunch of picks. But yeah, like that was huge. I think the Giants improved significantly, and I like the realism saying that you're not going to compete for the NFC East. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you respect that and realize that. But
I say we'll be right around 500. So we're gonna give you trouble every week. I think
we take the small things, right? We take improvement. Brought in a new running back. Got rid of Devontae Booker. So I think that you guys are on the up and up. I respect what you guys are doing. Your front office is doing. And I think there's greener pastures ahead for the Giants. It's hard for me to say that.
I will say this. You mentioned the adjustments with the coaching staff and the new GM. I agree. Mm-hmm. Bringing Brian Dabble, it was a big upgrade from the slew of coaches you guys had since Tom Coughlin days. And with the Daniel Jones talk, if there's somebody in the league that you can kind of say has tools that Josh Allen possesses, maybe not as lethal as Josh Allen's tools, but ability to run the ball, strong arm. We'll see about the accuracy. And that was all talks about Josh Allen when he came into the league is Daniel Jones. Is Brian Dabble able to, mold Daniel Jones into a Josh Allen-esque quarterback? I don't think so. I just don't think he has that. I think he reached on him in the draft when you took him. But you mentioned the weapons. There is a weapon on the offensive side of the ball outside of Saquon Barkley, who I think we all can agree is, when healthy, probably the most lethal running back in the league, doing it pass catching and around the ball. But another player who, word is that, if he gets his head right, that could make some noise and could be the Stephon Diggs of this offense is Kadarius Toney, wide receiver they took from Florida Gators. We got a Gator in the house, so Kadarius Toney. I'm interested in him. I'm interested in seeing where his head at. Is his head on straight to be a number 1 wide receiver in the league? You took a chance in the second round with Wan'Dale Robinson out of Kentucky, a little smaller, 5'8", 175 pound, fast, speed wide receiver, but a little smaller, not necessarily a number one. I think Kadarius Toney, yes, he is smaller. He's not prototypical size as a wide receiver, but I think he can give you a Stephon Diggs-esque play style, big play down the field, run slot routes. We'll see what a healthy Kenny Galladay can do on the outside as well. There's weapons in place. You did mention the weapons. The weapons are in place. The offensive line is going to be young. The defense is going to be young. There's a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones. And I agree with Jarvis. And you saying, and being a realist, saying, hey, we may not compete with the top of the division, but like Jay Money's been saying this whole show, is divisional games, hey, it's any given Sunday. So I will say that about the Giants. But five to six wins looks realistic. Got to control the turnovers with Daniel Jones. I mean, he led the league in fumbles for multiple years, I think it was.
So I'll say this: the team can definitely creep up and have the talent to be 500 team. Love the additions of the draft. Y'all had a heck of a draft, man. And the person that I see consistently growing every year defensively is safety Xavier McKinney. The kid's nice. That's something to look out for. Wandell, I think he stayed. They sized him up wrong. He's more like on the 5'11" side. And the dude is speedy. I think they took him an event that Tony does not get his act right. He could do it. I mean, the dude's played running back as well. Similar of a Tyreek type collegiate career almost that what Wandell has had. So I do like that pick for y'all. But to be honest, even though your team has the talent to be a 500 team, I almost would want to see your team in case Daniel Jones does not develop and become what he should be, that you end up with another top 5-6 pick, so you can move up and get your QB of the future in next year's class.
Well, I think they also had opportunities to get quarterbacks in the draft this year to back him up, but I think they are having full faith in Daniel Jones and him having a new offense coordinator, him having like you guys mentioned, he's got weapons. I love Kadarius Toney. Kenny Galladay, he's got his big receiver, he's got his fast receiver on Wandell Robinson. We re-signed Sterling Shepard, that's his possession receiver. So I mean, Matt Breida in the backfield behind Saquon has always been a reliable backup. We know he can't be a 3-down back. We need to split the carries is what we need to do at this point in time and just play it smart. Jarvis hit on it, man. Daniel Jones in a contract year with all his weapons. I don't see why we can't sniff 8-9 wins.
But I guess the question is, do you want that? Do you want 8-9 wins, pick in the middle of the first round, and let's say Daniel Jones is not the guy, and then now you're out of position to get the guy?
I mean, if we double our wins from last year and get 8 to 9 wins and Daniel Jones has a better season, a more productive season, then I don't see why he can't be the quarterback of the future. Like you said, like Jarvis hit on it. This is a prove-it year for him, and he's got to do it.
He's an animal. But like you said, he has to keep his head on straight. He's shown that he's shown last year that the flashes that he's had is just undeniable. Like it's Tyreek Hill-esque. Like he's fast. He's that dude.
Some Gators, man. I don't know. The Gators have issues keeping their head straight when they come into the league, man.
Hey, man. Charlamagne said it best, man. The craziest people are from the Bronx and all of Florida.
The one thing I like to see for the Giants, though, is I don't put him in the same class as Sanders, but I still put him in the category where we need to see Barkley fully healthy. Because it's either you stay healthy, you stay on the field, you put up those numbers before you guys find yourself in a contract that the boys have been in with Zeke and try to extend and try to give him an extension and everything else like that.
About because Penn State running backs not being able to stay healthy.
That's what it is. Yeah, I'm just going to say this. I hope for the Giants' sake, I mean, you being a fan, you're going to want your team to be great, of course. So I think we all want our teams to be great. But the realistic outlook for me personally would be stay the course. Don't reach. Don't try to do too much. Stay the course. Keep building. Like you guys, you hit the first round out of the park with the two additions of Thibodeau and Neal. Stay the course. Don't pay Barkley. Your team is not ready to pay Barkley. Keep building, do the draft, do free agency, and put a respectable product out there. for years to come. Not just try to go all in on this year just to be good, and then you're paying Daniel Jones, you're paying Barkley, and then you're looking, your salary cap situation is looking out of the loop. So stay the course, and I think with the additions to the front office, I think that's where the Giants are going to be headed. It's unfortunate that you guys are probably the worst team in that stadium, because the other team in New York is looking pretty good. But it's
the Jersey Jets.
Yeah, the Jersey Jets.
You say don't pay Barkley? What's Barkley's value? Like, do you think there's value? I mean, would they even contemplate trading Barkley?
Well, one thing I will say is there was rumors about us possibly moving him, but I think the most value we were getting is a 4th-round pick for him. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'm glad we kept him. I'd rather take a good year of Saquon Barkley than or years to come. Depending how this year goes. I mean, I can't say I'm on board with Big J completely. I want to see what Barkley has this year as well. I believe not only Daniel Jones, but I think Saquon is in a prove-it year as well. So.
Absolutely.
You don't pay running backs, man. Get them up. Get them up.
He pulled the plug quick on Saquon, man.
I'm just saying, not the talent of Saquon Barkley. It's just the talent mixed with the team. It's not like when you guys paid Zeke, you guys had the offensive line locked in, the quarterback was locked in, the defense was getting upgraded. Things around the running back position were there. The Giants are still building. I think they're still in the building phase, and addressing the running back position seems kind of obsolete to me. Keep building around that position, and then plug and play a running back similar to what the Cowboys did when you had the best offensive line in the league, and then bam, plug and play Zeke, and had one of the best seasons of the past 30 years.
The lifespan of a running back is short. So I get where you're coming from.
And I can see both sides here, though. I can see as a fan where someone like Barkley, like, nah, let's keep him. Let's try to keep building on our squad. Let's try to keep climbing up from where we at last year. But I also agree with what you're saying with long-term perspective. Like, if you could find yourself in a Bryce Young or something of that nature next year, and you got your future QB that you don't have to forget. I'll take Bryce coming out of the league over Daniel Jones, but I'm not saying Daniel Jones is washed up and done. I think the talent's there if he gets coached up properly, and he could become something. A lot of people don't give him enough credit for how he's mobile on the run. They don't give him that much credit on that aspect, but I do think the Giants have some more efforts to go. And if you guys end up, because the way I see y'all next year going to the draft, similar, we'll see how it play out for the Nines this year with trade, but similar how we kind of sold 2 future firsts to get our quarterback. And if he ends up being our quarterback and Bryce ends up being your quarterback, it kind of be one of those scenarios. But it's easy to do that when you're in that top 10 position versus middle to late round position.
Because we'll just have to see how the beginning of this season unfolds. We got the Cowboys week 3, but we don't see the Commanders or the Eagles until the end of the season. So those division games are late. I guess we'll see how the start of the season goes. See how it kicks off.
I think this is the year, though, the NFC East needs to demand some respect. It's always like, you guys have gone to the playoffs under 500 with a team before. Enough of that. Let's see the change in the ties in the NFC East. Let's see them come back up.
We said
that's what I want to see.
It's last but not least, the NFC East. It's the last division we covering, but it's definitely not the worst division in this league. That's for sure. This is a competitive division. You guys got to watch out. Last but not least, NFC East.
That's the East for you.
All right, gentlemen. Well, that's all the time we got for today, man. Appreciate my man J Money holding down that host spot.
So
that's the MVP spot,
Hey, man, look, salute to you. Take my hat off for you running this every week. Week on, week off. Staying in the cut in the quarter solo dolo. Shout out to you, big dog. Appreciate you letting me hold down the spot this week.
For sure. And my man Big J in the star center spot, holding it down for them Eagles.
Yes, sir. Hey.
It's all love, man.
It's all love, man. Hey, this is the NFC East, man. This is what it is, man. It's the biggest rivalries right here. I mean, the Cowboys and Washington rivalries, Cowboys and Eagles rivalries, Eagles and Giants rivalry. It's rivalries across the board, man. Probably the most. I'm going to limit and say it. This is the division with the most long tenured rivalries, man.
Facts.
It's all love at the end of the day. I mean, it's all love.
And my man Jarvis holding it down from the Zoom. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
man. Much love to y'all. Appreciate
Yeah.
y'all. 1 week away from the Hall of Fame game. So, I mean, we're right around the corner.
Hey, we're right back.
We're about to get this thing going. About to crank this thing up.
Yes, sir. About to crank it up. And also, we're going to be cranking up that 16-team fantasy redraft league in this JV Sports Room. Obviously, like I said, if you want to get in on that league, make sure you like, subscribe, and put in Fantasy League in the comments. You get to co-own the team with the man behind the scenes. And obviously, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check us out at sportjv.com. Support the merch. JDino 407 for savings. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. Mash that button on YouTube. And if you want to support the show, cash app us at $JVSPORTSROOM. And as usual, we got a quote for you guys from legendary 90s Cowboys coach, Jimmy Johnson. Do you want to be safe and good, or do you want to take a chance and be great? Thank you guys for watching.